And it's pretty exciting. We have Alejandro from Illapu joining us now. You've just played a set which I caught and loved over on stage 2 at around 4:30 this afternoon.
Yes.
And I was wondering how you're feeling post gig. There was good energy in the crowd.
The band was so dead.
Yeah.
Oh, they were dead because there was so much heat. I mean, right in their face. So we had them straight back into the changing rooms, and they didn't want to get out.
Yeah.
Soaked in a puddle of sweat.
Yeah, yes, it was incredible. And it was great because people sort of started coming through to see the band. It was packed.
Yeah.
On stage. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be good to bring people out in the heat.
It is in the heat. It was 39 degrees when they came out.
Yep. And there's a good bunch of you as well. How many people make up this band? There was at least
7 musicians.
Yeah. And how did you all meet?
Well, Illapu started in 1971 in the northern part of Chile in the town called Antofagasta.
Yes.
So they've been around for 52 years, 53 years this year. And unfortunately, this will be the last tour of Australia.
Okay.
Because it takes so long to organise and to get everything together. It just takes too long to get back into a festival or something like that helps create the atmosphere and sell tickets. That's the thing. Yeah, so it'll be the last tour here. The band comes from the University of Antofagasta, and the band was made up of 3 brothers at the start, 4 brothers: Roberto Marquez, Andrés Marquez, José Miguel Marquez, and Jaime Marquez, and their cousin Osvaldo Torres, and another friend, Eric Maluenda, came in 1974. He worked with Illapu till 2003. When Illapu went back to Mexico, he thought, no, that's enough for me, so I'll stay in Chile.
Yeah.
So he left the band. He was the high voice in Illapu, which is replaced by Alfredo at the moment.
Yeah. I was consulting with my good friend Gabby, who's from Chile, before this interview, and the university that you just mentioned was one that her parents attended, and she was very excited about. It was, I think it was probably back in the 70s, after the band had been, kicked out of the country,
Yes.
essentially, or literally, them coming back to play a kind of an impromptu performance at the university as well. And
Yes, they did a lot of that.
Yeah.
The beauty about Illapu is that they can play a huge festival, a huge stadium, but they can play 50 people in a shanty town.
Yeah.
And they will do the same show, and they will make the same production. They will spend their money to get the production there. They have done it. They don't care about that. It's not about the money. It's not about how many people are there. The spirit is there. And it's honestly the truth. It's nothing, you can say a lot, but actions do speak louder than words. So Illapu's like that. Illapu will tour, if it's a big concert or a small concert, it doesn't matter. The impromptu, whether you're invited, whether you're not invited, they will come and play. They will sing. If they're there, they'll sing for you.
What is it about this band that keeps you all together for so many years? Because a lot of people don't have that passion or wouldn't do it.
It is a
purely
passion.
For the,
It's a passion. It's a passion and the love for the people. Their conviction and what got them kicked out of Chile is what brought them back to Chile when they could. As soon as they could, they went back. And the first concert in Santiago was La Bandera, Población La Bandera, 150,000 people.
wow.
After 8 years, they thought people would forget us. No. I think when you say you can't do that, it's when people do it more.
Yeah.
You can't listen to this, you can't play. People exchange cassettes with, like
old school way.
it said Elton John, but it was Illapu under it, So, and the poetry, when you said embrace, was struggle, fight, don't give up. And that's what the message has always been with Illapu. No matter who you are, no matter where you are, you have a voice. And they became the voice of the people. Illapu became the voice of those that couldn't talk. And I remember seeing Roberto in front of 20,000 people saying all the big people from the big companies were there doing the Teleton, all over Chile. Everybody's watching 27 Hours of Love, it's called, and Money. And he stood up and said, if you people gave 1% of your earnings, of your profit, we wouldn't have to do this. In front of the people that make you or break you, people that own TV stations, radio stations. And I heard his voice, not, like crack, but he said it was the anger.
Yeah.
Not for having to do that, but that the state and the people don't do it. You have to get charity from the poor people who are the ones that give you the most. That moves this telethon for the disabled, when it should be the state, and that's what he was saying. You, instead of making money from us, because what they did is say, this microphone, I'll sell it to you for 40. I'll put it at 50. I'll get the 40 back and give you 10. So you give the 10. It's not the company giving 10. That's what he was saying. You give your profit. We don't have to pay for it.
And it's...
Am I getting, that?
Yeah,
and that's
definitely.
their conviction, and they're not scared to say it. And that's what got them exiled. Playing at the Vicaría de la Solidaridad, which is the church looking after the people. Because the Catholic Church, as soon as the dictatorship came on, they backed the people.
Wait, when was this? Was this
1973, 11 September 1973. Illapu, Jose Miguel was 17. 1973.
Which is it's a young age to be evicted from your home.
They had to. They went from Concepcion to Antofagasta in 1972 when they became very famous. But in 1973, everything was stopped.
Yeah.
The record company was sacked. Everything was burnt. All their materials, all the recordings were burnt.
Wow.
All the instruments were taken. So they had to flee. They had to go back to Antofagasta. They only came out in 1974, the end of 74. And one of the songs, El Negro, Candombe para José, became like an anthem for the people in jail, the people in concentration camps, that every time somebody was freed, they would sing their song. And that became a hit. And so they became so big, so famous that the government couldn't do anything. But in 79, the second tour of Europe, the government, they were coming back from Paris. The government said, sorry, you're not allowed. You're not back in this country. Can I fix my...
Oh, yes, please go for it.
So they were exiled in October 1981. 7th of October 1981.
What was the catalyst for that specific time to be the time when they
I think
got
it was
blocked?
the timing that they'd been far away and they've been protesting. They were making people hear what was happening in Chile. What happens with the media tends to forget the things that are happening and cover it or make up something that will distract the people that are worried. I mean, you can see it today. What happened in Chile in 1973, it's happened today in Gaza.
Yeah.
The same thing. People are saying, oh, it's all right,
You can't be complacent. You need to speak up.
Yes, and that's the thing. And I come back to the fact that their conviction doesn't let them be scared to say Free Palestine in a big festival. If somebody says doesn't agree, well, I'm sorry. I can't pick. Excuse me. Can you cover your ears? I'm going to say something against, what you think about. No, sorry. You have to be in a straight line. You can't be bought. You can't be scared. And it takes a lot of guts to get up anywhere and say, I believe and I back what I think. And that's what Illapu has been. They back everything they say, on stage, off stage.
Truly independent.
Truly independent, yes. And that's the biggest thing, is that they didn't sell, and they own their own recordings. Roberto has a studio where they do their own production and they lease it to EMI or anybody. Nobody owns them.
I think the definition of independent is a fascinating one, and it sounds like they meet the full length of that. But you see it so much in, even in record labels, in anything, things, media, publications call themselves independent, but you're not always. There's usually some sort of stipulation, even if it's a bias or just a pressure kind of lurking in the corner. It's hard to find truly independent artists.
So independent, I believe, that we had the first Aborigine playing at the concert hall at the Opera House, playing with us, playing
Wow.
the didgeridoo.
Do you remember who that was?
That was Johnny Lovelace, I think they call him.
Okay.
Johnny, an Aboriginal. We met in Redfern, and we chat and we said, "Why don't you come and play with the band
Amazing.
a song?"
Yeah.
And the night before he got into a fight, so he had I think it was a broken leg. So he came with this what do you call
Crutches,
Yeah,
walking
crutches,
on
yeah,
stage.
and he sat on the floor and played the didgeridoo.
That's a huge piece of. I didn't know that. That's a huge piece of history for
Yes.
such. That's a big venue, an iconic venue.
1997. It was the
It
first
took that long.
Yes, the first Aboriginal to play at the concert hall, invited by Illapu.
Wow.
And since then, we've invited Aboriginals to play with the band.
It's very important to stay true to
Yes.
that conviction of yours. Yeah.
So it's amazing, And what else have we done? We won the Media Peace Award in 1987 for a documentary on SBS. Yes, and we've released Atacameños in 1986 through EMI. We did Illapu Live through SBS in 1987, and we did in 1997 we released a collection of the last two albums with EMI. We've done a lot.
You've got a great load of connections there with particularly Australia as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
one of my best friends, one of my good friends, Peter Forrester, worked with Worldwide Productions. They brought Ricky Martin out. They brought the Gypsy Kings, and he loves Illapu. He's waiting for us in Sydney to have lunch with us.
Oh, fantastic.
Great
He
connection.
loves them. And I mean, how could you not? I mean, music is such a language breaker. You don't need to understand. I love Turkish music. I love Greek music. Maria Faranturi, Mikis Theodorakis. I love Maltese music. I grew up listening to Russian music, to Albanian and the different instruments. And what Hijapu has collected is the exile in Europe, going through every country and listening, and you can hear it. You can hear jazz, and you can hear a bit of Irish.
The way the music invaded when other things couldn't. Yeah.
Yes, and they implemented there. Illapu was the first Andean band to introduce the electric bass. And all the old school would go like, nah, you can't do that. But everybody does it now. And soprano, the sax, and the flute. So
Taking in these new instruments that just haven't been seen there in the past.
Yes.
We are running low on time.
Yes,
but
I'm so
would
sorry. I
love to
talk too
ask
much.
you-
No, I wish we could talk for longer.
Yeah,
honestly, but we are running a little short. So
I had one last question.
Yes.
So many years, last time in Australia. Do you have any other messages for Australia? What do you think is like the core of your band?
Love your country, love your roots. Fight for what you feel, for what you think, for what you want to do. As long as you are truthful to yourself, you will go in the right direction. You don't have to be complacent or please anybody else but yourself. I think that's the message is be happy with yourself so that it doesn't matter what comes through. You can't be bought, you can't be sold, you can't be changed.
fantastic, Alejandro. It's been a real treat and an honor having the opportunity to speak with you.
Thank you.